We didn't know if we were being like mass attacked by, bots or something, and there was lots of flagging of it. Nobody really knows what happened. It was just Twitter itself pulled it down. Nothing else was attacked. Nothing else had a problem. It was very weird because there was no warning, and it wasn't a temporary suspension. It was full on suspended. There was no this is for 12 hours, this is for whatever. And a lot of people like yourself are saying that they watched the movie because they heard it was banned. So maybe Twitter made a mistake there.
What is this film about? What is the plot against the president about?
Well, it is somebody said it best the other day where they said it sums up the Russiagate corruption, lies, and disinformation that took place over 4 years in 90 minutes, which is the point, not just because people have been forced by the media to believe something that isn't true and then to forget that they were told to believe that. That's the other thing that's happening is the media is telling us, they're pretending that they didn't just engulf the country in a fake story for 4 years, which is amazing. I mean, we are a victim of our own intelligence community's disinformation tactics, and I don't think people have really recognized that or talked that. And it's a very dark day for America. It's basically like being bombed by our own aircraft carriers. That's what happened. Because when you take that 30,000-foot step back and you can see all the moves at once, you see the chess moves. When you're in the war, when you're in the trenches, and the media is coming at you every day with one story or another, and then the counter story is coming out. Oh, there's a declassified document that says this wasn't true. The only person tracking it is like a Catherine Herridge who's sitting there with the highlighter and able to like have a flow chart on the living room wall telling you, what's true, what's not, what happened. And the average person needs to be able to take a step back and see the whole thing. And when you see the whole thing, you see the intent of certain characters and you see the results of certain stories and certain events, and you see the importance of things in a larger map. It's kind of, you see the grand chessboard. I mean, I don't know how they sleep at night. The man is, I can't think of a better person who has, who's in any way at all involved in politics. I cannot believe the shamelessness of the media to continue to drag his name through the mud. And then you see these little uninformed, idiotic trolls on social media, and even frankly, a lot of them have their own television shows, saying things like calling this man a traitor and saying things that they don't even know what they're saying or what they're referring to. They're just repeating it. And that's scary because that is how, if we've ever wondered how countrywide horrific situations happen, like, Stalin, Hitler, things like that. You see these situations and every high school student has sat there and asked themselves, oh, well, what would I do in that situation? Would I believe the mob and go along with this horrible thing and persecute people who are not guilty? Or would I stand up and do something or think for myself? And everyone thinks they're going to stand up and think for themselves. And then you look at this and you're like, I mean, these people just repeat what they hear on television. I had a pretty solid tinfoil hat back in 2015 and 2016, and it's only grown. My tinfoil hat is very large now, so I don't understand how anybody could trust these institutions. I don't trust them at all, and that's not that's not on me. That's what they've done in the last 4 years. So, yes, it's really terrible.
There's this critical moment in the film, and this is, of course, in Lee Smith's book that forms the basis of the film in the first place. You have one of the heroes of the story is Kash Patel, right? This Justice Department guy who knows how the system works. And he figures out that he can subpoena all these people that are saying, Russia collusion definitely happened, I've got the evidence, all this kind of stuff, puts them under oath, basically, and asks them very, very concrete questions. What evidence do you have? Do you have any evidence? I mean, I think there's 3 questions in there, and 65 out of 65 come up with nothing, even though in public and on the air, like you mentioned in the media, they're saying all sorts of things, all sorts of sometimes very terrible things. But then when it comes down to it under oath, nada.
Yeah, and that's the interesting thing about that is that it's not just that they said it in public and who said it in public. These are the heads of the agencies that would know that. If any American in government had that information and had any provable information about the Trump campaign or the Trump administration being connected to Russia, these are the agencies and the people who would have it.
So let's talk about the censorship question. I mean, you've actually sort of been in the middle of it now, having had your account suspended of the film. I think the film came out, and correct me if I'm wrong, somewhere around the time when the Hunter Biden laptop story dropped. Of course, it was kind of like an October surprise. I don't think anyone doubts that. But what happened was, in some ways shocking to many, which was that in social media with Twitter, Facebook suppressed the story. Twitter, actually prevented the account of the New York Post from posting any further. And there seemed to be a near total corporate media blackout around the story. So now kind of looking back at that, what do you make of it?
And it's a perfect example of what we're talking about. I mean, we don't live, who says it? Michael Anton says it in the movie. We don't live in America the way that we thought we did. And that really is the thesis of the film, is it's not the most uplifting thing, because it's not another one of these movies saying, oh, we better act now because we could lose, our freedoms and we could lose all these things. The water is already hot. Like, we're already boiling. We don't have a justice system. We don't have, like I said, we don't have an intelligence community that works for us. They work against us, and they just punish us if we have the wrong ideas and scare people and operate on fear like the secret police that they are. The thing about the Hunter Biden laptop is that none of them, the intelligence community, the FBI, et cetera, all of the bad actors, the DNC, the corrupt firms in DC, all of that, they wouldn't have been so successful if it wasn't for the cooperation of the media. And the media, I think people don't really recognize how much of an arm of the IC that they are. Again, snugly fitting on my tinfoil hat, as people would have said like 5 years ago, but I think it's pretty clear that this is actually the case when, CNN is giving contracts. The moment somebody walks out of CIA or FBI, they get a contract with CNN, you start to ask if that's a coincidence or if they'd really kind of always had this pretty friendly relationship. Yeah, I think that the media doing what they did with Hunter Biden and the laptop story is the test run for, in a lot of ways, the election. They will not report on evidence. They changed the phrasing. So, and when it began, it was, we don't have any evidence. Then it was, there's no evidence of widespread fraud. Then it's, oh, who the heck cares anyways? Biden has invented a backdrop with something called the Office of the President-elect that doesn't exist, so we're just going to go with it. We're still living in the coup. I mean, we really are. The media is always the first thing when there's a coup in a third world country. Who spoke about this well in the movie is Dr. Luttbach. He wrote the book Coup d'etat and is very well spoken on the issue. And he talked about how in a third world country, what happens is the coup takes place by the opposing group taking hold of the palace or whatever the location of the building of the seat of power. And then the next thing they do is they take over the television station and the radio. And, they broadcast, oh, we have found that the previous ruling party was corrupt and they were working for a foreign enemy. And so now we're here to save the country. I don't see how that's very different than what they tried to do with Russiagate and what they're doing now. I mean, they have taken over the media. slowly but surely over, I don't know how many years. And we live in a disinformation world. Another really important piece that spoke about that is actually Mike Cernovich's movie Hoaxed that he did with the two directors. I think that movie opened up a lot of people's eyes about what the media was really doing and how little we can trust it. If it wasn't for smaller organizations and citizen journalists and, the non-mainstream media journalists, we wouldn't know any of this. We wouldn't know anything that's going on right now.
So I'm going to give you a chance as we finish up here to kind of end on a more positive note, what hope you see, because you said, some of these things are very dark. But I know, having spoken to you before and so forth, that you're actually quite a hopeful and optimistic person. So why don't we finish there?
Well, I suppose the fact that this whole administration and that the president and Michael Flynn and the people that have spoken up, the fact that they exist at all is what is hopeful, and they give me a ton of inspiration. I mean, I'm inspired by Michael Flynn's story, the fact that he still has hope, and Sidney Powell and all of these wonderful people. I mean, I have hope when I see, Lee Smith, the brilliant author of this book, who framed this the way he did. Him and his lovely wife just had a new baby, and things like that are just beautiful miracles that are, a reminder that great people really have something to fight for, and they need to be brave, and everybody needs to be brave right now. I mean, again, the Devin Nuneses of the world who stood up and told the truth, I think it's really that. It's that each of us individually have to stand up and do what we can to tell the truth and to have the truth be told, and to spread the word in whatever way we can, because it's the only thing that it has a huge impact. Each person telling the truth has a huge impact.
So tell us quickly, where can we see the film?
Okay, so we can see the film on Amazon Prime for free, and it is, if you have Amazon Prime, it's also available for rent and to purchase on Amazon. It's on Vimeo on demand if you're not fond of Amazon. It is also on 2 free speech friendly platforms for subscription, where we will also be putting other sneak peek, extra footage, extra interviews, extra content on these 2 subscription platforms. One of them is called My Movies Plus, and the other one's called specialproject.io. All of them can be found on our website, which is www.patpmovie, which is Plot Against the President movie.com. It's still playing in theaters in a very small select group of towns across America, which you can also find and buy tickets on the website. And it is now available for pre-order DVDs at Walmart.com, Walmart stores, Target.com, Target stores, and soon on Amazon. And it will make a very wonderful holiday gift for your family and your anybody who you want to see it. So it's widely available.
Well, Amanda Milius, such a pleasure to have you on.
Thank you so much for having me. This was wonderful. I'm a big fan.